Hey guys, hope you all have been well. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be ranking my Pat McGrath palettes. I have 6 of the Mothership palettes and then the Celestial Divinity. I don't own any of the smaller palettes, so we're just really talking about like the big Mama Jammas. And now that I've completed my different looks with one palette, used every single shade in the palette, I formulated a better idea of which ones I prefer. Obviously, I'm not going to be getting rid of any of them. I do enjoy every single one, but some definitely do get a bit more love than others. So if you're interested in my ranking of these palettes, I hope you decide to stay tuned. Let's get straight into it. So the palette coming in at number 7 happens to be Mothership 7, which is the original Divine Rose palette. This is the palette here, and I think it's kind of surprising for me, who is such a basic eyeshadow wearer, that this would be on the bottom of the list, but I just feel like everything else has something very exciting about the palette, and being that it is so expensive, I would want kind of that pizzazz, that wow from a palette, and this is her most basic. I do love majority of these tones. I love bronze, kind of like a taupey color, and then you have these special shades here. Gorgeous, really pretty stuff, but just comparing it to everything that I have in front of me, there's something that just stands out, whereas this is a bit more on the dull side, which is great for everyday use. But since this is a ranking video, I feel like I've definitely come up with a lot more fun and exciting looks using the other palettes. Moving along, I have the Mothership 2 Sublime palette. This is the box that it comes in, and I really enjoy this palette, but I feel much like the Divine Rose 2, this is lacking options in terms of how versatile it is in making different looks with different color combinations. With this one here, I feel like these kind of are in the same color family. Then you have some golds, and then this one here, which is that pop of green. So definitely a lot more exciting with some pops of colors here in comparison to the Divine Rose, but I still feel like it stays within certain color families, with the exception of this one pop of color here. Is this Astral Orchid? Yeah, Astral Gold Orchid. I've been loving this as kind of like a topper over whatever main lid shade I have. So beautiful. The color combination is not a problem for me at all. I just feel like this one lacks a little less versatility in like the overall palette feel than some of these other ones that are coming out. Coming in at number 5, the Bronze Seduction palette, which happens to be the Mothership 5. This palette is so good, and I feel like if we're just talking like color story of all the palettes that I have, this is definitely something that will be on the top of my list. But because this is ranking Pat McGrath, and I wanted to kind of base it on how effective a palette can be in terms of doing different looks, this is definitely a little bit more basic when you put it against some of these more well-rounded palettes in terms of color stories. But this is one of the palettes where you get 3 matte options, which is awesome. So you have these mattes here, all different tones, this sort of golden bronze lid shade, this sparkling gorgeous red, pink shifty color, this astral color that kind of shifts yellow. So there's definitely a lot more variety in the different kinds of colors you can use, but they're still within the same color family. There's a lot of great everyday looks, nighttime smoky looks that you can do with this palette. Definitely a more glamorized basic palette from Pat McGrath. Basic. Coming in at number 4 is the Mothership 3 Subversive. Yes, Subversive palette. This is what it looks like here. This is what I'm talking about, like versatility. There's so many color options here green, blue, this kind of gunmetal-y dark color, purple, bronze, this astral color. I always feel like I have to swatch the astral shade because in the pan they all look the same, but the shifts are all different. So the versatility in this one is like chef's kiss amazing. There's so many different looks that you can come up with. When I did my video where I used every single shade, all the looks turned out different. I know that this palette happens to sell out quite frequently. I think it went out of stock twice since I got it, and visually I think this is one of my favorite ones to just look at because of the variation in color. It's so pretty against each other. Even the color placement was so well done in this palette. And the reason that I didn't put it higher on the list is because despite the fact that it's versatile, it's still not a palette that where I look at it I know exactly what to do. I definitely feel inspired by it, but it requires a little bit more thought on my end, and that can be a really good thing, you know, the creative juices flowing. But for me, I always find that I struggle with that when I look at it. This was the last Mothership that I picked up, and I have no interest in picking up any of the other ones. The Mothership 1 and I forget 6 I might be missing, I'm not sure. 4? 6 or 4, I forget. Coming in at number 3 is Mothership 6 Midnight Sun. I was surprised that this one was on sale for a little while. I don't know if they were getting rid of old stock and, you know, trying to replace it, but I got a really good deal on this and it was on sale longer than some of the other palettes were. But let's do color story. So we have yellow, like yellow goldish, this bright kind of coppery tone, this blue, purple, olive green, 3 very different matte shades. The versatility on this palette is amazing, and what I like about this better than the Subversive palette is that I know what to do with it when I look at it. There's so many great earthy tones in this palette, but there's also kind of this galaxy kind of space colors as well. So there's definitely more extremes in how I can go about creating different looks. I feel like when I look at this, I'm looking into like the view of a forest at night blending in with the sky. Don't you get that feel? Now this one doesn't have a box because it was my first Pat McGrath palette, and it's none other than the Divine Rose 2. I love this palette. I love this. I just love. This is where it all started. I was holding off on Pat McGrath until I found the one that I was gonna just, you know, it's gonna just introduce me to the brand. I got this and then I just went crazy. Is it as versatile as some of the other ones? No, but the amount that I've used this in comparison to the other Motherships doesn't compare. I feel like this is what I want basic and fun to be. This is exactly what basic fun is for my preference. I almost used this palette for this video. And now here we are at number 1. Do you guys know which one it is? Surprise! This is the Celestial Divinity palette from the 2019, January 2020 Christmas release. I love this palette. This is my favorite. First and foremost, I like that it wasn't that expensive. In comparison to this, it was still expensive. But you get more shades in here, obviously, which is a good reason for it being number 1. But I feel like it's the best shades of all of this combined. Like I have this red from Bronze Seduction. I have this from, I think it's Midnight Sun, the Subversive palette. There's so many of these golds, the yellow gold, the bronze. I just have everything in one. This is the best of Pat McGrath. Now it doesn't have the astral shades, the special shades, but honestly, I don't know if I would say those are my favorites. I know some people might be like, what? Annabelle, those are not your favorite shades? No, they're not. They're really pretty to like pack on the lids. They provide this, it's a very unique texture onto the lids, but I really do love these other shades, and I love being able to try and put things together that you normally wouldn't think of doing. And because there's variety in here, I feel even more so inclined to try and do different looks. I have raved about this palette on my channel a lot, and I still feel like it's my favorite. And it's just pretty to look at. I mean, look at that. Don't you look at this color story and just be like, so there we have it, guys. That is my ranking of my Pat McGrath palettes. Let me know what you guys think about my ranking. Would you rank it the same? Are you a little upset about how I rank things here? Let me know. I love reading your comments. This makeup look, I went a little bit more smoky sultry than I was intending to. I started off with like a safe transition shade, and then it just started getting that story of my freaking life. But I will be posting this on Instagram. It'll be the first link in the description box down below, where I post a photo of all my makeup looks along with all the products in the caption. Till the next video, I hope you all are doing well, taking great care of yourselves. I will see you all next time. Bye guys.